Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today we will be covering cases and solutions. My name is Wayne Barbaza. I'll be presenting today, and as always, Mike Mello will be joining me, and you can ask him questions on the question panel. Again, if you're a Twitter user, you can follow us at Method CRM. And for today, we'll be using the hashtag Method Cases Solutions. So again, with our Method CRM Twitter account, we constantly provide updates there, and as well sometimes even give hints as to what might be coming out or what we're currently working on. So if you'd like to stay up to date, follow us there at Method CRM. Again, you can ask Mike some questions on the question panel on the GoToMeeting interface. And if you don't get a chance to, you can always post your questions on the forums afterwards. As well, the recording of the webinar will be put on the webinars page on the website. Okay, so today we'll be covering cases. Cases allow you to create a record that describes issues, problems, and relate activities to that particular case. So it's a way for you to actually go back and see how many activities, what was actually done to resolve a particular issue or problem. So you can go back to see who worked on it, how many activities it took, and how long it actually took to resolve that case. So that's your way to track and manage that. We'll be looking at the cases list. So from that area, you can get a quick way to track and search through existing cases, whether you're a manager or an existing user. That can be used for quick searching. And also solutions. So that's a means to keep a knowledge base of perhaps common answers to problems that may come in from your clients. So if you're constantly getting the same questions from your customers, then you can create a knowledge base that either your internal users can search from, or as I'll show you later, you can integrate that into the portal so that your customers themselves can search through that knowledge base. We'll go through the new case screen. So creating a case, an activity, a follow-up, all in one easy step. You can even potentially create new customer or lead records at the same time. I'll show you the portal integration, so how cases can be created online by your clients. You can also search through the solutions, as I mentioned, if you make them available externally. And that's a big time saver because you can eliminate having to take phone calls or go into the cases area to create cases after taking a phone call. So instead of you spending time on that, you can be doing other things like solving more important problems or making sales. And as nice as Method is to look at, you may not always be in front of the computer or actually in the cases screen or in the Method account in general. So what we've done is we've created notifications so that when a customer does submit a question or a case through the portal, you are notified of it via email. So then you can read that email, get an idea of what's done. You can go from that email and get linked to the actual case in Method, or you can forward it off to another user if you're simply the one who receives the emails and delegates the work. Okay, so to get started, I'll just jump over to my Method account right here. So here I'm in my cases screen, and I'll take a moment to describe the layout. It's very similar to the other tabs in Method. So you'll notice that we have the cases list here. So this is where you can potentially view all the cases that are in the cases table. So you can go through these filters here. Right now, it'll show all active cases for me. So this is pretty much going to show me every case that is assigned to me that is still open. If I wanted to see all of mine that are include active and closed ones, I can choose my cases, or I can choose my closed cases. And alternatively, I can choose shared options as well. So if I do have permissions to view other users' cases, then I can select these options here, and their cases will also show up in my list. So that's all based off of the shared list, which we'll be covering next week. Okay, so as a quick example, let's say you're a manager, just to show you how you can quickly search through this grid. Let's say I wanted to find everything in September assigned to Wayne. I'll tab over here, and I wanted to find all high priority cases that are still open. So if I hit enter after typing in my filter fields here, you'll see that it filtered through the records and gave me all the ones that matched up. So this is your quick way to get a view of perhaps anything that's still open, that's high priority, that maybe hasn't been addressed yet. So you can actually use this grid rather than having to print out reports. You can just get a quick view here to see what progress your staff is making. Okay, so I'll just clear this filter out. And as always, you can click Go To actually go to a particular case. So here it's just going to open up the dynamic tab link again. So from here, you'll be able to change all the case info. So whether it's the contact, the status, whether you're going to set it to completed. And down here, you'll have your additional info, your current case dialog, and your ability to create a new activity. So this will actually show any dialogue that is between you and the client. So if the client actually were to respond or submit the case through the portal, that dialogue will be displayed here, so you can get a quick view and some context into what's happening here. And you can always just look at the existing activities for the case. So if you wanted to get a full history, see what everyone's been doing with this particular case, you can just select this option here. And in this tab, it'll just give you more detailed context into what's been happening with this particular case. And if you decided to attach some documents, you can do that as well here. Okay, so what we'll do is actually enter in a new case. We'll just jump to the new case area here. Actually, let's clear this out. So then I'll jump to the new case tab here. Let's clear the form. And what I'm going to show you is how you can actually save a lot of time by entering potentially up to 4 new records all in one step. And those records being possibly a new lead or new customer, and then the new case, a new activity, as well as a follow-up activity. So rather than you having to go to the leads area or the customers area and then having to create a customer record and then going to activities to log a phone call, and then if that phone call was actually because of a problem that a client was reporting, you then have to go to the cases area to create a case for it. Instead of doing all that, you can go straight to the new case form here. And for example, I can go let's say the new case, someone phones in I'm going to use my best for you customer example. So I'll just go, they phoned in and their cell phone crashed and can't reboot. I'm going to select an existing customer here. So I'm just going to use a drop down, my contact drop down, do a quick search for my best for you customer. There they are. Fills in all their info. And for here I can say, let's say I wanted to actually create a new status. Because often, sometimes with a particular company, maybe they get problems or cases created, and they're not actually real problems. So maybe a manager might come in, and or even a normal user just comes in and sees that it's not a real status, then or a real case, then they can just select or create a new case status here. And what this actually specifies is when you're doing some customizations and some filters, this invalid status would actually be marked as something that's closed, so it won't show up in a filter, for example, when you're wanting to see all open or all active cases. Invalid is actually considered a closed case. So you can check that there. We'll save and close. You'll see here you now have that option is there in the drop-down. So that's just a quick example of how you can add using the ellipsis button here for any of the fields that you see that have it. Okay, so we'll continue with our case form here. I can say best for you phoned in because the cell phone we sent isn't working after 2 days. And let's say it's myself, Wayne, that took the initial phone call. I can go new activity, but actually let's just quickly add some additional one here. I'll make this a high priority case. Let's just say it's a problem type. I'll go new activity. So this expands the new activity section. So now I can actually say it was a phone call incoming that alerted me to this particular issue. It's already filled in here with the contact info. So I can go best for you phoned in and notified me of their issue. I can then create a to-do for someone else. So let's say I go schedule a follow-up. I can perhaps schedule something for Crystal. I can give her a to-do. And this to-do, as I showed in last week's webinar, this activity will actually be related to this one, so that when Crystal opens up her activity, she'll be able to see the comments I last put in, giving her some context and letting her know what she actually has to do with that activity. And you'll notice, as part of the notifications, each area here had an option for you to actually notify, in this case, whether you wanted to let the contact, so best for you customer, know that you created a case for them. It's an option, but if you check it, it at least lets them know that you are addressing their issue. And similarly here for the activity, more internal, you can make it so that the user that you're assigning something to is going to get an email notification as well. For this one, since it's me, I know I'm doing it. I don't need to notify myself, but since I'm assigning this follow-up for Crystal, I can say email follow-up notification. So when I hit save, this is going to save all 3 records that I just created at the same time. So as I mentioned before, rather than you having to go to the look up the customer and then going to the activities area here and doing a new activity for them, and then going to the cases area in the end to create the case, you can do that all in one step. So it saves you a lot of time there. Okay, so now that if you go back to our cases list, just do a quick refresh. We'll see here, let's see do a quick search for cell. It's the first one there I already see. And there's a case that just got created now. Okay. And also I see an email. I'm logged into the customer's email account here. So this actually gives you an idea of what they would see. Now you can customize this as well, but this is the default template that we have, and your customers, as soon as you notify them of a case creation, this is what they'll see. So it's a good way for you to actually reassure your customers that you are providing good service, you're addressing their needs, and it gives them a way to know that they can always be kept up to date. Okay, so we'll now go back to, or go to the solutions area. So here you see I have 3 solutions that I've created in the system. And as always, you can quickly do some searching here. So this could be used internally if you have tech support staff or even a small team where you find that you're bugging each other for questions that are repetitive. You can create a knowledge base here where your internal users can search through and get answers. So just to show you again how the grid works, typing in something, hitting an enter, or hitting enter will pull up the records that match that. Okay, and we'll actually create a new solution as well. And I'll show you again how this ties into the portal. So I'm going to create one called phone cannot reboot. We're going to publish this because a lot of customers are phoning in about it, and it's the same answer every time. All you have to do is press a sequence of buttons. So we'll say common answer to force boot the phone, press *#, for example. We'll mark it as external by unchecking this, and we'll hit save. So now if you go to your solutions area, you'll see that the solution was created there. And you can also make it so that you add, if you want to add documents, for example, this one here, I've added a document to it so that when the customer actually views that from the portal, they can view that document as well. So as I mentioned, what if you want to save time and you don't want to have to create cases or answer phone calls that are always going to be about the same questions? Then you can have your clients go into the portal to do that, to do those tasks. So for example, I'll sign out here. As one of your clients, I can actually go into the portal login page here, sign in, and as I showed in previous webinars, they can add add or edit their profile, add contacts for their company. They can view their recent transactions and pay invoices. But for this webinar, we're concentrating on solutions and cases. So I'll take you in here and I'll show you here. It's similar to the grid that you see, but kind of more user-friendly, or I guess customer-friendly, in that it looks more like a searchable list rather than a grid object. So here, for example, if they wanted to search for something about rebooting, they can just type in some text at the top. Like that, and do some quick searching. Again, when they, for example, for this solution here, this is where I had that document. So from here, they're able to actually view that document, whether it's maybe further instructions. Right now, for this example, it's just the JPEG, but you can upload a PDF, for example, and maybe it has further instructions that go into more detail. You can do that as well. And if they can't find a solution, I just clicked on that button there, which takes me to the customer service area. So here's where they're essentially doing what you were doing in the cases area. So now they can type in their own subject. So let's say their BlackBerry is not taking calls. Could leave it as in progress. Or mark it as a problem. I can make phone calls, but cannot receive them. And all their info is provided here already, and they can just hit submit. So you as a method user, if you were already in the account, you would just simply see in your cases area that an object, a new record was created. But even if you're not in the account, what would happen is you get an email that looks like this. So for example, here you see case number 23, BlackBerry is not taking calls. I'll get an email that looks like that. And by me, I mean like the admin of the portal, so you can designate who would be receiving these emails. So basically, it tells you what more or less what the case was about, as well as providing a link directly to that account. So if I clicked on this link here, it actually takes me directly to that record in method in the cases area. So if I do a refresh here, here's that record. Clicking on that link in that email takes you directly to here. So if you forwarded that to anyone else, they would be able to go in and view the case. Okay, so from here, you can actually, in the case dialog area, see what was actually said by the customer. And then you, in turn, can make some comments. So you can maybe send an email or just provide a web comment. So we'll just select email outgoing. And you can say, please return the phone and we'll send a replacement. She will keep this as web comment. Save. So the customer initially gets an email that they've actually created the case. So that's the first one that came in. And the second, let's just see if they're saved. So there's the update. So the customer, even though they're not always in the portal, they'll get an email back saying, or letting them know that we actually responded to them. So this is what they would see. And back in the actual portal, if they were viewing their cases here, they can actually show the case and same thing, get a view of what's already been done with the case. So whether you close it or not, they can actually control whether to keep it open or not from here as well. So they can perhaps respond here and say, I'm returning the phone, or maybe they received it. So let's say a week from now, they can just go in here and say, I received the phone and it works great. Thanks. So they can close the case from here. This is the customer, remember, and hit submit. And then back in here, if I do a refresh, I should actually see that disappear from this list. But if I do my closed cases, I'll see the BlackBerry one is now showing up. The BlackBerry case is now showing up as in that filter. So if I go back and actually view it, I can get a full history of what happened as well. And I see that the last message from the customer was that they submitted, I received the phone and it works. Great, thanks. Okay, so that shows you how we've integrated the cases area and solutions area with the portal to save you time and also make it easier for your clients to get a hold of you and to actually keep up to date with any cases or solutions. Okay. So that covers everything that we needed to go over for cases and solutions. Again, the webinar will be available on the website shortly. And next week, as I mentioned, on Wednesday, same time, we will be covering the Home tab and Shared Lists. So Shared Lists, again, just to remind you, is your way to create permission settings between each and every pair of users in Method. So for example, if you wanted user A to not see user B's data, but user B can actually see user A's, then you can set that kind of relationship up. So if you're interested in that, join us next week. Okay, once again, thanks for attending. And on behalf of myself and Michael, take care and see you next time.